Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about um, why you should build your credit score and why it's important. So, your credit score is basically this number that uh, sort of represents how responsibly you use your credit card, right? In the US, it's a big deal because um, it's sort of a part of your identity or like your background check. So if you were to provide a potential employer or maybe if you're, trying to lease a new apartment or something of the sort, and someone were to do a background check against your social security number, your credit score is something that pops up, and you don't want to have a bad credit score because it would be a red flag, right? So now, with that being said, um, why is a credit score important, right? So first of all, a good credit score would help you to get loans easier. So this means that if you want to get a loan on a car or a house, your interest rates will be lower if your credit score is higher, which is a good thing. Um, Also, if you're trying to move into a new apartment, um, your new landlord might check your credit score just to make sure that you are someone who pays your bills on time. Um, and so having a good credit score might help. Having a bad credit score might potentially lead to problems while moving into a new apartment. And so now I want to talk a little bit about um, how to sort of do this, right? So you might be thinking that, hey, if I have enough money in the bank account, I can just like buy stuff directly with my debit card. I don't need a credit card, right? And you are correct, but the system in the US is mostly uh, I would call it a largely credit-based system. So you kind of need to have a good score. It would definitely help. And so now I'm gonna get to the point of the topic, which is how do you build a good score, right? Now, if you are an international student and you don't really have a credit card, so you're gonna need to start off by getting one, right? The easiest way is to get a card from Discover, and then you would sort of just use that card as your first card, right? You will definitely, I think, need some sort of income before you can get a credit card because it's usually like you get your first job, and then for that first job, you get your SSN. I'm talking about international students specifically here. When you come into the country, and then you get your SSN, and then the next thing would be to get your first credit card, which is linked to the SSN, right? Now, as far as so when you fill up the form for the credit card, you're gonna be asked someplace like how much do you expect to earn in a year. It's okay if that's a ballpark number, right? Like even if you, I guess, don't have an internship, but you expect to get one and it's around that range, I guess it's fine. Like it's kind of impossible to exactly predict how much you're gonna earn exactly in the year, right? But I think they ask you for how much you can potentially earn in the year plus what your rent is. And then you kind of give like a rough estimate of what you think those numbers are, and then you apply for the card. And if you apply for Discover, you'll pretty much get it for sure because they have a program for students. And then if you're not a student, you would need to start off with a starter card from one of these smaller companies that ha- have these cards. Um, so what a starter card does is a starter card is used to build credit, And so the entire point of the card is to um, report your credit history to the main three, like, I guess, organizations that track them, which are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion in the US. And then it sends your like history to those three places, and then the score keeps building over time, right? And then once your score is high enough, you can apply for a different card, but don't be discouraged because the starter cards originally have like a very low limit of around 300 or $500 for like that's the limit for the whole card. But it goes up with time, and as you know, you wait a few months, as the score increases, you can apply for a new card, right? So I'd say a good sort of way to do it is to start with a card that either Discover or a different starter card if you can't get Discover, and then just use that card for, I don't know, 6 months, I guess, and just use it in daily life. And then as your score goes up, you can then apply for a newer card, use that for the next 6 months, score goes up even more, apply for a newer card, and just keep repeating this process until you get to like 3 or 4 cards. If you want to check what your credit scores are at the three unions and just get more information, download the app called Credit Karma on your phone. I'll leave a link in the description, but that app should help you check your credit scores and even recommend credit cards to you. And it works really well actually. So pretty much all of the recommendations that the app has are correct. So if the app says that you are likely to succeed at getting a particular card, it's more or less correct. So that app's a big help. But yeah, this is kind of the process. You just kind of have to go through it, and it's like a game almost. So the idea is you want to end up at like maybe 3 or 4 cards, right? Maybe five. And then you can start at like the smaller cards like Discover, and then work your way up to like the better cards like right, this is what, 2024. I think Chase Bank has some pretty good cards. I think American Express has some pretty good cards. But you would need to, there might be like a limit. You would need to get a particular score to get those cards. I don't think you can get those cards immediately. So you would need to start at like Discover or another card to get to that point. But yeah, that's kind of it. Um, yeah, you should like pay your bills on time, obviously. You want to keep the utilization of each card below 30% of its limit. So if a card has a limit of $2,000, you don't want to be spending more than $600 on that card because that's just like a metric. And so you want to keep the utilization of each card low and then have multiple cards, right? So a realistic example of how you would do this is you use Walmart Plus or Instacart to order your groceries, and you have a card that's the payment system over there. You have one for Amazon. You have one for going out to eat when you just leave your house and you go out to eat with your friends, uh, or something. Just for your everyday life. But then the point would be to keep each of those expenses within 30% of the limit of the card, and then sort of just keep doing that until your score rises. And then as your score rises month over month, what you can do is, if you have a card that has a very low credit limit or a card that you're not particularly a fan of, or maybe you just have like too many accounts and you want a new card because you think that the new card has some extra perks. So you might want to get the new card, and if you have too many cards open to handle, you can close one of your old accounts, so you can just kind of like keep leveling up in that sense. And that's kind of it, I think. You might want to really be sure of what cards you can apply for before you apply to them. Every time you apply for a new card, you get what's called a hard inquiry. So a hard inquiry is just a check from the card company to your, I don't know, like whatever, I guess the organization that manages your credit score. And then what happens is your credit score will drop by 12 to 15 points every time you apply for a new card and the hard inquiry happens, and then it'll go back up. So don't just apply to cards left and right, apply to the cards you know you have a high chance of getting. Just use the Credit Karma app, and then you wanna just keep using the card, and that 15-point drop will just correct itself in like a month. And that's basically it. Um, you know, I think having a high credit score can be an asset because it just helps you in a bunch of places. So yeah, that's it. Hope this video has been helpful. Leave any questions you have in the comments, and let me know what more you'd like to see. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hey, bye for now. Have a great day.